With cabinet confirmation hearings underway, we thought we'd start by looking at the team Trump is building to run his administration. We've sorted his cabinet picks into 4 categories. First, the generals. Trump picked retired 4-star Marine General John Kelly to head Homeland Security, retired 4-star Marine General James Mad Dog Mattis for Secretary of Defense, and Michael Flynn, retired Army Lieutenant General and former Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, as his national security advisor.
We're calling the next group the Tycoons. It includes Trump's selection of Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson to be Secretary of State, along with Goldman Sachs alum Steve Mnuchin to head the Treasury Department. The billionaire investor Wilbur Ross is who Trump wants for Commerce Secretary, and the fast food mogul Andrew Puzner for Labor Secretary. World Wrestling executive Linda McMahon is Trump's choice for the Small Business Administration, and he's tapping his investment buddy Carl Icahn for a special role of regulatory czar.
For all of his outsider talk, there is no shortage of D.C. insiders on Donald Trump's team. Just to name a few, he chose Republican Party Chair Reince Priebus for his chief of staff, RNC Chief Strategist and Communications Director Sean Spicer as his press secretary, and his cabinet is stocked with congressional ties. Republican Congressman Tom Price and Mike Pompeo will head the Department of Health and Human Services and the CIA, respectively. Senator Jeff Sessions got that Attorney General nomination that he wanted so badly. And, of course, Trump's pick for Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao is married to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Finally, Trump has plucked a handful of outsiders, activists, and allies to fill other top positions. This is the group that has drawn some pretty strong objections from Trump opponents, in part because it includes the selection of Steve Bannon, a proponent of economic nationalism and a hero of the so-called alt-right, as Trump's chief strategist inside the White House. So, John, those are some of the names. There are more people who've been appointed. But broadly speaking, how has Trump's team helped the next president make good on his promises to drain the swamp?
Well, it's a mix, right, between insiders and outsiders. There's no doubt. The first thing to say, I think the most important thing to say, is that this is the least experienced group of people ever to come into an administration in our lifetime, in terms of government experience. Very little. There's some congressional people, as we mentioned, but in the White House itself and across these cabinet departments, very little experience at running agencies, very little experience in Washington with federal government. That may be a great thing. It may be part of draining the swamp, but it's going to be a big challenge because running the federal government's really hard. We'll see how well they do. But given the Wall Street ties, given the corporate ties, given the number of congressional insiders, this is not as much of a group of outsiders, much more in the White House outsiders. Outside the White House, this is a group that does not look populist overwhelmingly to me.
When government people go into business, they got to learn not just how to function in government, but a new set of rules and a different set of ethical standards. Every administration I've covered has done things that are perfectly legal, giving meetings and special access to donors, for instance, legal, but ethically questionable. And my big question about these people with a business background is when their friends from the business world come a-calling, or the paid lobbyists of their friends come a-calling, will they give them special access? I care about special favors, obviously, but even special access to me is problematic, and it's going to be interesting to see how much of that there is in this administration, stipulating that there always is a lot.
Look, I mean, we on this program and many people in the press hammered Hillary Clinton when people who were connected in some way to the Clinton Global Initiative were given just a meeting at the State Department. I thought we were right to criticize that.
Access.
Yep. I thought we were right to criticize it then, but let's not have a double standard here. Let's apply that same standard to now that Donald Trump is in office and he's brought these people in with him. Let's apply that same kind of standard to them as we go forward.
These people, again, taken to totality as a group and painting with a broad brush, this is a group of people who are outsiders in a lot of cases, but there are not a lot of people here who are populist reformers who will care about draining the swamp. There are very few people here who have any record whatsoever of saying special interest influence needs to be lower, of all sorts, not just business, labor, all other sorts of special interests.